Joan Laporta has deceived everyone. Hansi Flick is still set to leave FC Barcelona this summer. Lamine Yamal is reportedly moving to Paris Saint-Germain for euros 350 million. Erling Haaland has chosen Barcelona, and here's how he hopes to make the move happen. Roberto De Zerbi has backtracked and apologized to Tottenham Hotspur fans for his previous comments. Rodri and Real Madrid. Could the transfer really happen? All this and much more in today's episode. Hello everyone, friends. Don't forget to like, hit the notification bell, and subscribe on already. Great. Let's get started. The newly appointed Tottenham manager Roberto De Zerbi has publicly apologized for previously supporting Mason Greenwood. For those who might not know, Spurs fans issued an ultimatum to the Italian coach. De Zerbi was required to apologize for supporting Greenwood during the controversy he was involved in while still a Manchester United player. Otherwise, as fans put it, we don't need a coach like that here. The growing dissatisfaction could have escalated further, so Roberto chose not to risk it and made the apology. Of course, some may say the Italian simply changed his stance. I never intended to downplay this issue regarding women, or anyone in general. I apologize if this topic has offended anyone. I have a daughter, and I am very sensitive to such matters. I always have been. I hope that over time people will get to know me better and understand that at that moment I didn't want to take any specific side. De Zerbi was quoted as saying, "It's interesting to wonder how Mason Greenwood feels now. Probably not great. But that's a completely different story." De Zerbi seems to have chosen his 5-year contract and a bright future at Tottenham over sticking to his previous position, though perhaps he was simply misunderstood back then. "I signed a 5-year deal because this is a big challenge for me, and I will be Tottenham's coach next season, no matter what. I believe in the players. We must remember who we are and who our players are. We have a very strong squad, and we need to work by trusting their abilities. They must show what they are." I've watched many matches, especially recently. I know the players very well. I love football, so I watch several games every week. I know everything. I understand this is a difficult moment for Tottenham, not just for me, but for everyone at the club. But I believe we have all the qualities needed to get out of this situation. The Italian concluded. Right now, De Zerbi's #1 task is to keep Tottenham in the Premier League for next season. Nothing else really matters. Whether he succeeds or not remains to be seen. However, there's no doubt he is ready for any outcome. After all, he signed a 5-year contract. No one could guarantee that Spurs wouldn't get relegated, but they still have a chance to stay up, and they must take it. This will heavily influence the club's summer transfer campaign and the squad for next season. Relegation to the Championship would likely lead to the departure of key players, something the club must avoid at all costs. We'll be watching closely to see whether De Zerbi can handle the challenges ahead. But for now, let's move on to the next news segment. Stay tuned, there's plenty more coming up. Paris Saint-Germain have contacted representatives of Lamine Yamal. That's the headline published today by El Nacional. Nasser Al-Khelaifi is eager to bring the young star to Paris. According to the source, PSG are ready to make this the biggest Apparently, this deal could significantly surpass the famous Neymar transfer in terms of numbers. As a reminder, the Brazilian joined for euros 222 million. Whether the club signed him or he bought out his own contract is still debate. Now, the Sheikhs are ready to pay as much as euros 350 million for Lamine Yamal, whose current market value is around euros 200 million. For those who may not know, Lamine is currently considered the most valuable footballer in the world. This status firmly belongs to him. Talking about selling him can almost be seen as a rhetorical discussion. On one hand, why would you let such a player go? Yamal is the future of FC Barcelona, a player who truly makes the difference on the pitch, though some might argue he also makes that difference off the pitch. And not always in a positive way. Just remember the party incident involving the young Spaniard. Either way, Lamine is a formidable force and one that will only grow stronger given his age. But if we look at it from another perspective, What do we get? Euros 350 million is an enormous amount of money realistically, a price Yamal may never truly justify. But be honest, there are serious doubts that his value will exceed the current Euros 200 million mark. In short, Paris Saint-Germain would be massively overpaying. And for a club like Barcelona, still dealing with financial difficulties, such a sum could be a lifesaver. It could allow them to invest in another young talent with top potential and use the remaining funds to finally clear their debts. Sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it? But there's another important factor. Of course, belief in Yamal is incredibly strong, especially among Barca fans. However, stagnation and regression are always possibilities. We've seen many young, highly promising players fail to live up to expectations, including at Barcelona. Take Ansu Fati, for example. At one point, he was called the next Lionel Messi. And what happened? His rise was as fast as his decline. Back then, Manchester United reportedly offered over Euros 100 million for him, but Barcelona refused. Looking back now, the answer seems obvious. They would likely make a different decision. Could something similar happen to Yamal? Absolutely. One injury could change everything. Just look at Gavi. Yes, they play different positions, but the impact of injuries is clear. In a very short time, his value dropped from Euros 100 million to around Euros 30 million. That's the harsh reality of football economics. And now PSG are offering Euros 350 million for Yamal. That's definitely something to think about. Of course, it doesn't mean Yamal will necessarily decline or suffer injuries. But when you're dealing with such a valuable asset, you have to calculate all risks. The truth is, football is not just a sport, it's a business. And if you look deeper, it often resembles show business. Just look at the flashy lifestyles and public personas of players. They attract attention far beyond the pitch. In this world, everything has a price, and Euros 350 million not only matches Yamal's value, it probably exceeds it. Yet, many people don't even consider this perspective, even though they should. Another question: why does everyone assume Yamal wants to spend his entire career at Barcelona? Remember Neymar? He also spoke about loyalty before leaving. There are other examples too. With Hansi Flick, everything seemed fine at first, but disagreements with the club changed everything. As they say, from love to hate. So blindly believing that Yamal will finish his career at Barcelona is risky. The point is simple: when misunderstandings arise between a player and a club, his value can drop significantly. Ideally, a player should be sold at their peak when everything is going well. That way, both sides can part on good terms. We didn't want this, we respect each other, but circumstances made it necessary. So what would you do if you were in Barcelona's management? Would you sell Yamal for Euros 350 million? And do you believe Lamine is truly the next Lionel Messi? Share your thoughts in the comments below! Club.